officer, and forensic identification officer, okay?
Yep.
So just have a seat in the corner and I'll just kind of explain what's going on here. This is Rick Terrio. He's our forensic identification officer I was telling you about. This is Nate. So what we're going to be doing right now, it's called a search incident to arrest. All right, just so you know, we're in an interview room and we're being audio and video monitored. Okay?
I'm aware.
You're aware?
Yeah.
Okay. I know you were able to speak with duty counsel when you got here initially. Okay, so I'm going to go over everything that, just so you have a full understanding of what your status is right now and what we're going to be doing. Okay.
Well, I have some idea, but
okay.
Yeah.
All right. You were arrested for a couple of different. Well, initially, from what I understand, you were arrested for dangerous operation of a motor vehicle. Do you recall that?
yes.
And then it was upgraded to murder. All right, okay. So things have changed a little bit since then, all right? So I'm going to go over that with you, all right?
Okay.
Okay. And I'm going to read it right from my book here, okay? Some of the at that time, I believe one person had been confirmed dead. So since then, it's now 4 people have been confirmed dead, okay? Another person was injured, all right? So you were under arrest for 4 counts of murder and 1 count of attempt murder. Okay. It's my duty to inform you that you have the right to retain and instruct counsel without delay. You have the right to telephone any lawyer you wish. You also have the right to free advice from a legal aid lawyer. If you're charged with an offense, you may apply to the Ontario Legal Aid Plan for assistance. 1-800-265-0451 is a toll-free number that will put you in contact with a legal aid duty counsel lawyer for free legal advice. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Okay. Do you want to call a lawyer now?
Well, maybe eventually, but I already talked to one legal counsel, and I know that people always say, "Don't talk to the cops, don't talk to the cops," and I know that I know this is all fake. I know you're just trying to get information. I know that.
Before you say anything else, I just want to give you a little bit more information, okay? I read your rights again to you because initially you were arrested for 1 count of murder, and now it's 4 counts. So there's a difference. There's been a change in what we call your jeopardy.
I understand.
Okay, so I wanted to make sure you're aware of your rights in relation to the 4 counts of murder and 1 count of attempt murder. And if you want to speak to a lawyer again, because you have, there's been a change in your jeopardy, then I want to give you a chance to do that.
Well, I already talked to him.
Okay. So before you say anything else, I want to let you know that you're charged, or could be charged, with 4 counts of murder, 1 count of attempt murder. You're not obliged to say anything unless you wish to do so, but whatever you say may be given in evidence. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Okay. Now here's one more thing for you before we get going here. This is a little bit wordy, so I'm going to read it to you, but then I'm going to explain it to you if you don't understand. Okay? If you've spoken to any other police officer or to anyone else with authority, or if any such person has spoken to you in connection with this charge, I want it clearly understood that I do not want it to influence you in making any statement. Do you understand what that means?
Yes.
Okay. What does that mean to you?
So basically, if I were to think, if I was like, oh shoot, I already said to the officer, I might as well just confess.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I think that means.
Well, here's what the way I interpret it. You've spoken to. I'm not the first police officer that you've communicated with tonight.
No.
So, police officers have a level of authority in the community. All right, so that's a fact, they do.
Yeah.
And I want to make sure that nobody with any kind of authority, be that a police officer or somebody else that you hold in some kind of authority position, has said something to you like, you need to talk to the police. You have to talk to the police.
Oh, no.
Okay, no one's made you any threats or any promises or anything like that about talking to the police?
Yeah. No one has.
Okay. You've been treated okay since you've been here?
Yeah. No, I'm a little shaky, but just out of shock, but I'm fine.
Totally understandable that you would be shaky. Yeah. It's a pretty serious deal, right? And
Yeah.
okay. So I'm going to turn over to Rick, and he's just going to You want to explain what your process is here, right? I'll get out of the way and do whatever you
Okay,
guys
so
do.
simple for me, I'm the technician in this process. So what I do is I've already taken some pictures of the property that you were brought in with, the best and nailed it. I'm gonna take some pictures of you now, so sort of the old, like you've seen on TV, the standing, face this wall, face that wall, face the back wall. And then I'm done with you, so it's a pretty quick process, okay?
Do you want to take a mask off for it, or what?
Yeah, I'm okay if you're okay with taking your mask off. I got 2 shots now. Okay. So, straight ahead. Okay, and face the side wall. Stop there. All right, face the back wall. All right, just stay there for a minute. Okay, turn to the right one more time. Face the side. Yeah, good.
You good, Rick? Okay.
Good.
Thank you.
Control.
All right. Do you want a drink or something like that? Some water or juice?
If you're offering, sure, yeah, I could just get a water, sure.
You hungry or anything?
We can pass that for now, it's fine.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna go grab some water. I'll try and find you some shoes that are about your size. I don't have a great selection, but I'll do my best. Okay. Are you alright if I sit far enough away? Can I take my mask off?
Oh yeah, well, did you want me to put my back on?
No, I'm totally fine if you're okay.
No.
No? Okay. But
So yeah, no, I don't care if you take yours off.
okay. All right. Just hold tight. I'll be right back.
Yep.
Is that okay?
Yeah, sure. Thank you. Thank you very much.
No problem. If you get hungry at any point, I'd like to spend some time with you. If you get hungry at any point, just let me know. I'll get you whatever you need.
I'll be fine for the questioning. But I appreciate it.
Okay, what that changes, you want some, I don't know, burger or whatever, I'll make sure you get that.
Thank you.
Okay? Hopefully those... So, you spoke with a lawyer. Are you satisfied with the advice you got from your lawyer?
No, but it's just...
I don't want to know what they said to you. That's none of my business.
It's just... I know the deal already, pretty much.
Yeah?
I've done so much research before I did what I did. Like, I kind of know the deal. Like,
Okay. Do you want to talk to a lawyer again? This is because,
maybe later, but I'm happy to talk to you right now.
Okay. I just want to make sure that you're, because I'm not here to. I don't want to trick you. I'm not trying to trick
Well,
you.
regardless of if whether or not you were or are, I am not. I'm not planning on being dishonest, or how do I put it? I'm going to be honest about what I did. I'm not going to try to.
Okay.
I'm not going to be trying to. Oh, how can I get a lower sentence or?
Okay. I appreciate that.
It's not because it's not at all that. It's a. Well, I'll explain, I guess, later when you're asking questions. But.
Okay. I just, again, I want to make sure that you have advice, you've spoken to someone, they're aware of your situation, and that you're satisfied with the advice you get.
I'm aware that anything that I tell you can be used to make my sentence worse. I know that if you're trying to, get the least sentence or get the least whatever, your best bet is to never talk to the cop. Don't talk to the cops at all without a lawyer. But that's not my intention to do. Okay. I'm not planning on pleading insanity. I'm not planning on claiming that I was in a psychotic state, or I'm not. I want the world to know why I did what I did. So I'm just gonna tell you.
Okay, and I'm a detective. I'm in the major crime section, so what my job is to find out the whys and the whos and the whats and all that stuff, all the details.
Yep.
But before we do that, I want to make sure that you are completely aware of your rights.
Yes, I know I have every right to not talk to you at all. I know I could just be quiet and not say anything.
Exactly.
And if I was trying to, say if I was like, oh, I regret doing that, I wish, I don't want to spend the rest of my life in jail, then what I would do is I would not talk to you at all, and I would get a lawyer and I would try to plead insanity. But I'm not going to do that.
So just one of the things you said that just kind of maybe just tweaked my interest there is that you're talking about me trying to get a more of a worse sentence or a lesser sentence. So that's just so you know, it's not up to me, right?
Right, but what I'm telling you right now can and will be used against me. I'm aware
absolutely.
of that.
I just want to make sure you're aware, and you've said it several times now.
Yep.
I just want it very crystal clear that you're. Anything you say to me is of your doing, all right? You're voluntarily telling me things,
yep.
Right? Okay, and I will not play games with you. I'm not going to try to trick you. My job is to find out those details and about what happened, things that happened, and why they happened.
Yep.
Yeah. So please, if you would like to speak to a lawyer again, at any point from the whole time you and I are together. Please, just say the word, and I will get you out of here and get you in touch with a lawyer, okay?
I'll let you know.
Okay. So I can call you Nate?
Yep.
And that's what most people would call you? That's what you go by? Okay.
Yep.
My name is Micah, okay?
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. If you need anything to drink, anything more to drink, again. If
I'm fine for now.
If you want some food.
Yeah, I'll let you know.
Okay.
Thank you.
I do, to be honest with you, Nate, I have a lot of questions for you. But
you're going to get them.
But what I'd like to do is just give you the floor, so to speak, and I'd like you to tell me what happened. But I'd like you to tell me what happened in as much detail as possible, as best as you can recall it. And I'd like you to start at the beginning, wherever the beginning is for you. That could be 20 years ago, it could be 3 hours ago. I have no idea, as I wasn't there, but wherever it is for you, you start and you go right through till the end, wherever the end is for you. Okay? And I'm not going to say anything.
I guess when I turned 18 and I started getting a little interested in politics, and I started doing research on the whole 2016 Trump election. And that was the first time that I noticed that the media is very dishonest. That they, basically that was the first thing I noticed. I was like, wait a minute, why is their coverage so weird? There's like every other young person, like, oh, he's evil, right? But as I started doing research, I was like, the media's being dishonest. Like sometimes it wasn't always outright lies, but it seemed like they were so biased and they were so dishonest. And from that point on, straight down the rabbit hole I went. I just kept uncovering thing after thing after thing. I learned about mass Muslim on white crime that went unreported. So it made me, and I just, I always kept these things to myself because, you're always afraid of, being called a racist or whatever, because you can be violently attacked, or a lot of bad things can happen if people think you're racist. So I really kept these things to myself. I became a bit of a recluse, I guess, because I spent a lot of my time just, but, once I started, the moment I was 18, the moment I realized that the media was a bit dishonest, because I always just assumed it was just the news. But the moment I found out the media was dishonest, it was just straight down the rabbit hole. It's just one thing after another that they do. There's because it's like they'll claim that white people are the problem, and white people are the problem because of their hate crimes. But then every time a Muslim kills a white person, they don't report it. They won't even report it as a hate crime. They'll just say it was just murder. So, but that's only one example. It's endless. It's so corrupt. And I kept trying to figure out why is this? Something didn't seem right. Because it's why is every single news media doing the exact same dishonest thing? It's not just the news. Why is every educational institution doing the exact same thing? Why is every corporation promoting the same far left liberal agenda? Why is the upper elite class promoting this hatred of just normal white people? Why are they? Because I just kept searching and I just kept finding more and more stuff, but still at the time it was it made me angry, but I couldn't handle it, because if I was ever okay, let's figure out some unreported crime that doesn't get reported, because here we go again, the media's hyping up some stupid it's not even wrong that they're reporting it, but they'll only focus on one white on minority crime. They only focus on that to mess with the public and hype up the public and deceive the public into thinking that it's white people that are the violent ones, when it's the other way around. That's completely disproportionate. But every time, if I ever accidentally stumbled across a news article of something really bad happening to a white person, white woman raped, white girl killed, white man gang attacked. If I ever stumbled across it, it would fill me with this anger inside, that I purposely would avoid it. So even though I was for a long time in between 18 and now, I was interested in politics. I would still just read the news, or look at forums and stuff, and read books or whatever. But I always would purposely avoid any minority on crime, whether it was like a video that somehow wasn't deleted from Twitter or YouTube or something, or whether it whether it was like a news article that I happened to find. And I usually had to dig pretty deep because they don't report on it. And but eventually, I didn't like it. It made me feel like it just filled me with this anger. Like that made me it filled me with such rage that I purposely would avoid it. I was so depressed and so like, oh, what does this world come to? Especially because I had been around the time I had been doing online school in my house for so long. I was just going insane. Like it was just, I felt like I was in jail because just always in my little apartment, never leaving, because the schools were closed and everything was closed. And finally, I was like, okay, you know what? Maybe I should actually look into the minority on white crime that goes unreported because I'm like suicidal right now and this isn't good. So maybe I should look into this because kind of face the demon that I'm afraid of looking at. Because I would always purposely avoid it because it would fill me with this rage when I saw it. So from then on, I started doing more research into that. And I'll tell you what the breaking point for me was the Muslim grooming gangs in the UK. That was it. I just snapped. I'm like, I'm done. So Muslim grooming gangs in the UK gang rape and pimp 13 and 14-year-old white girls, usually from poor middle-class working families. And the governments in the UK purposely allow it to happen, and the media purposely doesn't report on it. And that, even that wasn't enough to break me. What broke me, I think it was the Sun, I think. What actually made me snap and I decided I'm going to commit violence, was when, I think it was the Sun, I can't remember which shitlib news media it was, but basically what happened is there were two 12-year-old white girls that were kidnapped by this Muslim grooming gang in the UK somewhere. I think it was in Britain somewhere. And they were, 12-year-old girls, drugged up, brought to some house, and they're just gang raped, drug. And their fathers, these two white girls, 12-year-old girls' fathers, managed to track down where their daughters were. And they tried breaking into the house where their daughters were. The cops showed up. They arrested the dads. They charged them. Then they charged the two 12-year-old girls for being intoxicated, and then they left to let them keep getting gang raped. I was like, I'm done. So I decided, all right, this is it. I'm gonna commit a terrorist attack. I'm done. I'm not putting up with this shit anymore. What am I gonna do? Fuck this. Fine. And in all honesty, I would blame the Western governments for what happened. This isn't like, because you can say, oh, it's your fault, Nate. You chose to commit violence. But guess what? I'm not allowed to any other option of violence. They leave you no choice. Because if you publicly protest and say, stop Islamization, it's resulting in terrorism against white people and Muslim grooming gangs raping our children. What happens? You'll get doxxed, which again, I'm not actually against doxing if the government still protects your rights. But then after you're doxxed, you get kicked out of school, fired from your job. You might even be kicked out of your apartment and forced into homelessness. It happens every single time. Not every single time, but it happens so much. If you are publicly protesting or even say you're just like, you decide to become some public advocate, you say like, this is a problem, we need to stop this. Then what happens to you is, what often will happen is minorities will attack you in the street, or Antifa will attack you in the street, and then when you try to defend yourself, the government throws you in jail and charges you for violence. And then all the news media starts saying, oh, white supremacists committed violence, white supremacist attacks innocent Antifa. The government, for some reason, don't ask me why, but they never charge the, whether it's like minorities that attack these if like minorities attack white activists, or whether it's Antifa, the media always covers for them, and then because all these giant corporations that are funded by people like Jeff Bezos and George Soros and stuff, or even, I don't even know who they all are, but all these like corporations, these like basically liberal, like protest organizations, they all get, all their bail is paid immediately. So they leave us no option. I would rather be peaceful. I would rather just hold a fucking sign. I would rather just write books or something, or be some activist, or just be free to say that what my concerns are. And if someone happens to attack me, then there'll be fair, equal justice under the law. And I'll be able to claim self-defense if I defended myself when I was being attacked. Or it would be illegal for employers to fire their employees if they're publicly accused of being a racist. Or it would be illegal for government-funded institutions like colleges and universities to expel their students because, there's an allegation that they said an offensive word in private when they weren't even on. But they don't. They're not allowed to. So it's the government's fault that this is happening. It's not. They leave people like me no choice. I would much rather. I didn't want to do this. I felt sick after what I did. I felt sick to my stomach. But they leave us no choice. So if Western governments are going to purposely cover up for Muslim grooming gangs that are raping 12-year-old white girls, 13-year-old white girls, 14-year-old white girls, if they are going to purposely cover up for it, and that the media is going to purposely not cover these things, then I'll bring attention to it with brutal violence. I don't care. They leave me no choice. So there's a few different reasons for why I did what I did. Reason number one is to send a message to Muslim grooming gangs in the UK that you have to back off, and if you don't back off, more Muslims are going to die, and there will, because when people like me do things like this, it inspires other angry men to do the similar. Like, I would have never done what I did if it wasn't for other men that have done similar things. Brenton Tarrant, the New Zealand shooter, he was a huge inspiration for me. It was like, whoa, a white person actually doing something about Muslim terrorism? Wow. There's other people. There's Anders Breivik, John Ernest. There's lots of people that inspire me to do what I did. And now that I did that, whether people like it or not, future people that do the same thing, they will have been inspired by me. It will accelerate. So there will be people down the road who decide to do something similar to what I did, and it will be me. I'll be one of the people that gave them inspiration. There's a lot of other things I could say, but I think maybe you get kind of the gist of where my motivation came from.
Okay. Well, I want to hear it all. I want to know everything.
Yeah.
So
well, I kind of went on a
what
bit of
else
a
is-
sorry. I went on a bit of a rant there. I just
No.
yeah. It's
You went back to try to tell me why you've done what you've done, or what your motivations are.
Yeah, so-
But if there's more, just tell me. Like, I want to know.
okay. Well, there's a list of reasons why I did what I did, but reason number one was to send a warning to the Islamic grooming gangs wherever they are. Most of them are in the UK, but send a warning to them that if you don't back off and stop, more Muslims are going to die. So that was reason number one. Reason number two. It all really ties back into that, honestly. But I also want to prevent. I also want to prevent something like that happening in Canada, obviously, because when there are a lot of Muslims in countries, that will happen. And the UK has the most Muslims, and that's where it happens. It's not just the UK; all over Germany. Australia, it happens. I think even New Zealand and Holland, it happens. It was also for revenge too. I want revenge. I wanted revenge for all those white girls, young white girls especially, that have been gang raped and pimped out by those disgusting gangs. What I did is revenge for every single one of those girls. I'm half Dutch. It happened in Netherlands too. I don't know if it's probably still happening. Young schoolgirls getting trafficked by these Muslim grooming gangs in the Netherlands. That's revenge for them too, especially. Revenge for Ebba Ackerland, the 11-year-old white girl that was walking home from school when a Muslim crashed into her with a truck and ripped her body in half. And then afterwards, her grave kept getting vandalized. And when the dad complained about it, the cops harassed her dad about it. Revenge for her grave being over and over vandalized over and over again after she was buried. What else? Oh yeah, revenge for the recent Islamic terror attack in the shopping mall in the U.S. I can't remember which state it happened in, but some Arab went into a shopping mall and killed 10 white people, including one young white girl as well, along with a bunch, but they were all white that he killed. But of course, he's not reported as being some anti-white terrorist. Just a random shooter is what he's treated as, and what the public will believe, because the public isn't really capable of understanding that the media is lying. And there's side thing, like side reasons for what I did, but they're not reasons enough to justify what I did, but they're sort of bonus reasons. Like I'm trying to inspire more young men to stop sitting around and letting this happen. Especially, and part of the reason why I use my truck as opposed to trying to like legally acquire a gun or something is because in the UK, their guns are very hard to get a hold of, and there's even the cops don't carry guns on them. And a lot of the men there just feel like we're powerless, right? I'm trying to send a message to other guys that can't get a hold of guns. You can use a vehicle. It works. Like John Ernest, the guy that he had a gun and he only killed like one person. Like you don't necessarily need a gun. So that's what a message I'm trying to send. And yeah, it will be very encouraging to a lot of people secretly. Of course, they won't admit it, but for a lot of people, it will be like, finally, somebody did something. And you could say, you could argue, well, children are innocent; they shouldn't die. Or people will say, oh, you're a coward, Nate. You're a coward. You killed innocent people. No, I'm actually giving Muslims a taste of their own medicine. How can you call me a coward when they're the ones that sex traffic, grooming gang rape, drug, kill very young white girls every single day? They're the cowards. They're the ones that target naive girls that don't know any better. They're the ones that go into shopping malls and shoot random white people. They're the ones that are the cowards. I'm just giving them a taste of their own medicine. And don't get me wrong. Because originally I was going to go on a rampage, but after I felt so sick to my stomach after what I did. It was surprisingly easier than I thought. Because I thought I was going to keep hesitating, because I kept hesitating and hesitating. I was like, oh my god, I can't do this. But when I actually stepped on the pedal, it was actually surprisingly easy. But as soon as it happened, I was like, fuck this, I'm surrendering. Because don't get me wrong, it was very distasteful. It was very damaging to my soul what I did. But that's what the only thing they're going to respond to. You have to be extreme. If they don't respond to anything else. And if people know that their children are in danger, they are much less likely to. They are much less likely to try to piss them off if they know that, oh, it's not just me, it's also I'm endangering my children by my actions. So, yeah, I think I sort of basically gave you the gist of it. But yeah, I don't regret what I did. I feel like I had to do it. I didn't want to do it, but Western governments don't defend my right to free speech. They don't defend my right to, because I would have much rather have been peaceful, but Western governments don't allow that. So they leave you no choice. it's not like, even terrorism is something you can kind of like push to the back of your mind. Like another Muslim terrorist attack. Oh, another Muslim terrorist attack. But the Muslim grooming gangs, that was just too much for me. I'm like, just fuck this. I can't put up with this anymore. And most white people today, they live in this individualism. They live in this, what they do is they basically think like, oh, just don't think about it because it's nothing to do with race. It's just an individual. So I just have to focus on my own life and I don't have to worry about what happens to other people. And that's a wrong way, that's a destructive way of thinking, because you keep thinking that while you keep on becoming a minority in your own country, and you keep seeing the anti-white terrorist attacks and rapes and murders getting worse and worse and worse. You're just deceiving yourself when you do that. It's like how can somebody in the UK like see all these? And by the way, they are targeting white girls because they don't do it to their own people. They are targeting white girls on purpose. They have it because they have some like historic revenge desire from the Crusades or whatever. But how can you as a white person just see that happen in your own country and keep on saying, well, it doesn't matter. It's just the problem of the individual. It's just that individual Muslim's bad. So it's just a problem of an individual. It could have been anybody. It could have been a white gang, rape gang. Like, they're just so stupid. They just, with this ideology of individualism, they deceive themselves, basically, from what I can see. Like, if you don't collectively resist something and say, no, I'm going to defend my people, then you're just living you're living a lie. This is what I would argue.
I'm gonna try and focus it a little bit.
Yep.
Because we've talked a lot, or you've talked a lot about what brought you to this point.
Yep.
Can you just take your mind back to yesterday? It's almost after 2 in the morning. So, yesterday, take me through your day yesterday.
Saturday?
No, so it's now Monday morning.
Sunday?
Sunday.
I just worked like usual.
Okay. So just start at the beginning of your day and take me all the way up until right now.
I was just on my way home from work, and I saw some Muslims walking down the street, and I was like, well, I guess if I'm wanting to send my message, maybe now's a chance. And I hesitated, and I went home, and I paced around, and I was like, I'm done putting this off, I'm just going to go do it. I just went and did it. It was surprisingly easy, because if you ask anyone who grew up with me or knew me, they would all describe me as maybe not a nice person necessarily, but they would be utterly shocked at what I've done. They had no idea. I don't think anyone would have had any idea what I was planning. So this is not like I don't know if like people are going to try to frame it this way, but this was not like a psychopathic desire just to kill innocent people. This was politically motivated, 100%. But it's, especially when there's so few other people that seem to be doing anything, I really had to force myself to do it. It was not, I took no pleasure in what I did. After I did it, I felt relieved, like, oh my God, I finally did it. But it's not something that it's too bad that it had to come to that point, I would say.
So you've described what happened yesterday. very briefly.
Well, there's nothing special really. I just decided that because I kept thinking about doing it and thinking, but I kept hesitating, and I hesitated so much, and then finally I was just like, fuck this, just get this over with.
Okay. So, if you take, and this may be impossible for you to do, but if you take the motivation, the reason for doing it, out of it for just a second. You mentioned you went to work, you went home, you saw some Muslims, thought about it, you went home, you paced back and forth, you thought about it some more, and then went back out. So one of my jobs is to tease out these details. Okay, so little details that may not seem significant to you are significant to me. So go back to yesterday morning. Tell me when you woke up and what happened from when you woke up until noon hour.
I honestly, I don't think I could tell you anything abnormal. Well, I felt pretty gross in the morning, but I felt pretty gross. But I wasn't actually expecting that I was going to do it yesterday. I didn't think that was going to be the day I did it.
Okay. So where do you work?
Oh, I don't think I work anywhere anymore.
But you mentioned going to work yesterday.
Yes, I worked at Grey Ridge Eggs. Just as a...
Grey Ridge Eggs?
Yeah, just a egg factory.
Where's that at?
In Strathroy.
Okay, where do you live?
We lived in London, in downtown.
Okay. So what time did you wake up yesterday morning?
8:45.
You mentioned feeling gross.
Yes.
Why is that?
Because I had gotten pretty depressed on Saturday, and I had taken a bunch of shrooms.
Okay. Okay. Thanks
So,
for being honest about
but
that.
well, it was like 3 in the morning Saturday. So technically it was Saturday, even though it was sort of like Friday night. But I sort of had a cynical breakthrough after that happened, and when I came out of the high, I decided that I was kind of wrestling with myself, and sort of like, I guess I was just wrestling myself. And when I woke up, I was like, yes, I am sure that I want to do this.
When you woke up Sunday morning?
Yeah, well, I slept during the day Saturday because I was up all night, obviously. But I slept during the day Saturday, and then I woke up for a while and went to sleep again, and then woke up. And then I woke up at 8:45 in the morning.
Then what?
I had a shower and went to work.
What time did you start?
10.
How did you get to work?
Driving.
You drive from your apartment downtown to Strathroy?
I did, yes.
Okay. You start work at 10, you said?
Yeah.
Okay. Then what happened?
Just a regular day. There was nothing. I still felt tired and shitty, sort of. Even though, I don't know, maybe there was still some come down effects, but it was over 24 hours, I think, so I don't think that could have had anything to do with it. Yeah, I know there's going to be a lot of people that are going to try to claim that it was because of psychedelic drugs he did it, because they're not going to want to get demonized like people who are conservative, or people who are arguing against, Islamic terrorism and stuff. They're going to be not wanting to be associated with me, so they're all going to try to say that, but I don't believe that was the cause.
What happened at work yesterday?
It was honestly, I don't really talk to anybody. There was nothing really. I don't think there's anything I can really say. Like, I honestly wasn't expecting to do it. Just a normal day. I had lunch and worked and then left.
What time does your shift end at work?
I ended at like 6 p.m.
Okay. So, what happened after you left work?
I just drove, and then I was reminded when I saw some Muslims walking down the road, and I was like, for fuck's sakes, I can't do this. I just can't do this. But then I got home, and then I forced myself to do it pretty much.
Okay. All right, Nate, tell me, again, with as much detail, and that may not seem important to you right now, but it's important for me. Tell me everything about your drive from Grey Ridge to your house, your apartment.
It was pretty normal. I turned on the radio for a little bit. I was feeling pretty down, I guess, on the drive there, I guess. I didn't really speed. I passed like one car, I think, but that was it. I had the radio lightly on, and yeah, I don't really think I have anything to say. I don't think there was really any details I could think of. It was, yeah, like I'm used to feeling like shit on Sundays, kind of, because it's the weekend and maybe I partied too hard or whatever. But so, but yeah, I decided that I was ready to throw my life away I don't even consider it throwing my life away, but I was ready to, in that sense, throw my life away for what I consider to be a greater good.
All right, I'm trying to get an idea, a timeline, and all, your motivation for sure is important, but what route did you take to get home from work yesterday? When I say yesterday, I mean Sunday, because technically it's Monday right now.
Right. It would have been just, like, you're asking for the road name?
Just, yeah. Which roads do you drive on to get home?
Yeah, so it wasn't the 402. It was that just long stretch of road, Egremont.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. That was the way. It's shorter than the 402.
Okay, so all the way home. Tell me how you get home. And this is something you do all the time, I suspect.
Have done, yeah.
Okay. Like, you drive the same way to and from work all the time?
Yeah, it seems so weird to say it like in a present tense, but yeah, it was, yeah. Hickory Drive, right on Egremont.
Yeah.
And then, then if you want to take a shortcut, right on Nairn, right on Hyde Park, left on Oxford, right on Wonderland, left on Riverside, and then I'm basically home.
So you left there at 6 p.m. You took that route to get home. You mentioned you saw some Muslim people on the way home?
Yes.
And that reminded you of these things that you've been feeling?
Yeah, I knew that I felt like I was being a pussy putting it off. It was tiring to keep putting it off.
Okay. Where did you see those people?
It was on Hyde Park Road. Yeah, it was on Hyde Park Road. No, it was on Oxford Street. I think it was on Oxford Street, yeah. It was on Oxford Street at a light. I can't remember which light it was at, but it was at a light.
Okay.
Don't get me wrong. Not a very distasteful thing. Very, very distasteful thing. But I don't feel like I had any other choice.
Okay. Just to clarify, you mentioned that you saw some Muslim people that reminded you of these?
Yeah, they weren't the same people that I killed though.
Okay. Just saw them, drove by them, and went home.
Yes.
Okay. Tell me everything that happened once you got home. As much detail as possible that you can remember. I know that a lot's happened since then.
I was looking to I ate a little bit and yeah, paced back and forth for a little bit thinking about was I ready to do it? Was I ready to do it? And then another man that did something similar from the UK, I looked him up to see what had happened to him, or kind of look at what he did. Then I was like, yeah, I can do that too. And I went and did it.
Who's that man?
I can't remember his name. He's from the UK. He drove a van into some Muslims by a mosque. He was actually, I mean, people probably would feel a lot more sympathetic towards him than me because he actually did in the UK, right? But clearly that's not enough to tell him to stop. So I'm gonna have to escalate.
So you looked him up, saw what he did, how he did it, and you said, I can do that.
Yep.
And then what?
I just drove around until I found something and went and did it.
What time did you leave your apartment?
It would have been 7:30, I think, about that time.
Okay.
There's cameras in the apartment, so you guys will be able to see, but
Okay.
it would have been around 7:30, I think.
Okay. I want you to take your mind back now to that time at 7:30 or whatever time it was that you left your apartment, and take me slowly through what happened after you left your apartment until you were arrested by police.
So if you check the cameras, you'll see me hesitating a lot. I walk to the door, and then I go, fuck's sakes, walk back, I'd say, fuck, a few times. And then finally I was like, all right, let's go. And I just left. You asked me about the drive?
Yeah.
So I left for the drive, turned around, then I pulled over. I had a fake airsoft gun because I thought, just in case people try to attack, say my truck flips or something, right? And people try to attack me. If they think I have a gun, then that won't be able to. Then maybe they won't attack me. And then had a machete in my truck as well, 2 knives, an axe. And I didn't end up using any of those things. There's no way psychologically I would have been able to do that. Some people can, but Muslims certainly can. They do stabbing attacks all the time, but it's more psychologically difficult to hurt someone with a knife as opposed to a gun or a vehicle, right? Because, yeah. So yeah, I pulled over, put on my bulletproof vest, put on my helmet, and I can't tell you all the streets that I drove down, don't remember, but I basically just drove around looking. And it was way easier than I thought it was going to be. Like, I thought I was going to chicken out and not do it, but it was surprisingly easy. But as soon as I crashed into them, I was like, what the fuck? And I just was like, I'm going to surrender. I'm not going to go on a rampage. This is enough. I drove around until I found like a parking lot. Like, I wanted to ask someone to call the cops because I didn't have my phone on me. And I pulled over and I found a taxi driver and got him to call the cops for me. And then I admitted to the cops. I was like, yeah, I did that on purpose. I guess I was sort of. I mean, I guess I would have looked excited at the time because it was more like a sigh of relief, like I finally did it, because I didn't think I was going to be able to. Because I've seen people, like I've seen a video of a guy totally fail. There's been so many guys that have been totally failed. Because what usually happens is they'll be really mad, and they'll talk online, and the feds will get them. One guy from Germany tried. He wasn't doing the same target. He was trying to shoot up a synagogue or something, but he totally failed, and he made a bit of a fool of himself, I guess. So, yeah, I was like, I just kept thinking, yeah, I'm gonna just fuck it up. But once I actually went through with it, I just was like, all right, that's enough. I did what I wanted to do. Message. I'm pretty sure that the message is probably pretty strong now. I'm gonna surrender now.
You don't know the roads you drove down to get to where you.
No, I can't remember. I wasn't really like. Yeah, I'm not really gonna. What else? Do you have any other?
Okay, you mentioned pulling over and putting on a vest and a helmet.
Yep.
Where was that?
Which was that? Talbot.
Talbot and.
Talbot was right by the Covent Market. I pulled over by the Covent Market and started putting my stuff on.
Okay. And from what I understand, you live quite close to that?
Yeah, right across, yeah.
Okay. You're on Talbot Street. You put this vest and helmet on, and then you drive around for a certain amount of time with no. Did you have a clear direction of where you wanted to go?
I think for right now, I'm going to pass on that question, all right?
Okay. Absolutely.
Well, probably I can talk to you later, but I'm still a little shaken up by what I did.
Yeah. Okay. You ended up out in the Hyde Park area.
Yeah.
Okay. Tell me what happened. You've mentioned several times about whether or not you'd have the courage to do it, or this it that you were planning on doing. Is it? But you haven't told me what it is.
What do you mean it? What do you mean?
This act that you've been thinking about doing.
I admit that it was terrorism. I admit it. It was terrorism. I'm not gonna try to get a lighter sentence by saying it was just murder, not terrorism. It's like I'm not trying to. I think, like, by definition, it probably does qualify as terrorism.
Okay. So you're talking about this on a more grander scale. I'm talking about specifically the act that you did.
Okay, so the act specifically was the first reason that I told you. The number one reason why I did was to send a warning to the grooming gangs. That was even if it was just terrorism that Muslims do to us. It wouldn't have been enough. It was the grooming gangs that broke me, and what really broke me was seeing. Actually, I guess I didn't really finish telling you that. What that liberal news article did is they deleted the article because white people were getting mad. That article that I told you about, where these two 12-year-old girls were getting gang raped, and the UK cops arrested the dads when they tracked down the house and tried to break in. Mm-hmm. Charged the two 12-year-old girls for being intoxicated with the stuff they were drugging them with, and then left to let them keep gang raping them with the dads. They just took the dads away, keep on gang raping them. I'm guessing, I don't know, maybe the cops were Muslim. Maybe that's why that happened. I don't know. I have no idea why that happened. But it wasn't even that. It was the fact that the media deleted it because white people were getting mad. And I'm like, I am so fed up with this. I'm so done. So that was when you asked me what it is, that the number one reason why I did what I did was to send a warning to the grooming gangs to back off. Or else or else more people like me will continue to do what I just did. And someone already did it in the UK, and they keep on doing it. So clearly they don't get the message clearly. So something more brutal had to happen.
You mentioned that was the thing that made you that was the moment that you decided that enough was enough for you.
Yeah, the very breaking point for me was when the media actually deleted their article because a bunch of like Islamophobes were getting mad. Mm-hmm. That was when I got fed up and said, I'm done. But even the fact that happened too, even like just knowing even just seeing the UK cops actively allow that to happen was enough. And you might say, and there's, well, this is another issue, I guess, but it's not just the UK. It's like Western governments all do the same thing. They're all part of the same thing, but that's kind of a different issue, I guess. Anyway, sorry. Well, what else were you asking?
I was trying to kind of drill down to the act itself that you've been talking about.
Yes, that was the motivation to send a warning.
Right, that was your motivation.
Yeah,
you're right. Your motivation was to send a warning.
Because I'm not part of a group, obviously, and anybody who is part of a group is an idiot. Because all groups that exist as of right now, as far as I'm aware, are all like just fed honeypots. And people who join these groups are generally complete idiots because they just get caught planning something and get arrested. But there are a lot of people right now, especially in these COVID days, there's a lot of, especially young white men, that are getting really, really pissed off. And they will see what I did, and they will be inspired by me. So that warning is not just that's not just a threat by somebody who can't do anything anymore because he's in jail. And by the way, I'm not intending on doing anything else. I did what I wanted to do, but that is a real threat because more people, if they don't stop, more people will copycat not necessarily copycat, because I wouldn't even really call myself a copycat. Maybe in some ways, but I was inspired by it. I was inspired mainly by Brenton Tarrant. He was the main person that inspired me. But even though it's not like an active like underground group, they will, I'm sure, like they're so pissed off about the same shit, and they will likely follow through.
Okay.
If it doesn't stop.
Okay. So you mentioned that you did what you wanted to do. You've talked about how you felt after you did what you did.
Oh yeah.
You talked about using a vehicle. So Nate, what did you do?
I killed a bunch of people. Well, not a bunch, 4.
Okay. How?
By crashing into them.
Where?
I can't remember what street it was on. I can't remember now. It happened so fast.
Okay. Thank you for telling me that.
Yeah. Well.
This is going to be difficult for you.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I think, yeah, but take me back to the time period right before this happened, right before you crashed into people, and describe for me what you saw, what you did, and what you were thinking.
It was very blank. I just let's just do it. Pedal to the metal. That's what surprised me, really. I was surprised that I didn't hesitate. After it happened, I was like, oh, what have I done? And I'm surrendering. But before it happened, it was pretty easy. There wasn't really any hesitation at all. Just like, let's do it.
What did you see?
What do you mean, what did I see?
Right before it happened.
It was such a blur. It happened so fast. Like, I saw, obviously, fly over the truck when I hit them, but that happened so fast I barely even saw that.
The people that you hit, how did you come upon them?
I just saw them walking.
You saw them walking and made a split decision?
Yeah.
Did you have to?
I mean, I was a ticking bomb ready to go off. Like it could only go on for so much longer before I did something. It's just like there's no, like I said, like I explained it to you before, there's no outlet at all. There's zero outlet that I have because I can't talk about it publicly for all reasons I've already said. Even talking online, and it's not even that. Like, if people like me who are really upset about what's happening to Western civilization, and who are really upset about this mass minority on white slaughter and rape that's going on, if we were able to simply congregate and meet at each other's places and talk, which used to happen, they would just chat and talk, or even if it was just like that, even that I wouldn't have done it. It's the fact you can't even do that, because what happens is online Antifa people come and infiltrate you, and then what happens. People who aren't even violent, people who, like, again, censorship and tyranny and Western tyranny leads to violence. They give the government, the establishment, if you say it, gives me no outlet. I have nowhere to go. I have nowhere to physically meet with like-minded people who also want to, activate and speak out against what they feel is wrong. There's no, you can't publicly be a public activist for reasons I've already explained. You have to be even careful. Like, what did I see? I was doing some research yesterday, I think. What happened? Yeah, there was just this group of guys, and I think it was in Finland. I think it was in Finland. I can't remember what country it is. These people were peaceful protesters. They were holding up a sign saying "Stop Islamization," which is, for obvious reasons they're doing that is because they're worried that these grooming gangs are going to be targeting their girls too. And what happens to these people who were just simply peacefully protesting? They were arrested for inciting violence. So there is no outlet. There's nowhere to go. They give you no option if you care, which it will mainly likely be my generation that does things like this, because we're the generation that more or less has nothing to lose.
I want to clarify a couple things. You mentioned that you'd ingested some shrooms the day before.
Technically, but it was like sort of like Friday night.
Friday night, late Friday night, after midnight.
After midnight, yeah.
So we're early morning hours of Saturday.
Yeah.
Okay. You did that. Now, you mentioned being depressed on Saturday or feeling down.
Yeah, well, I was okay before, but the come down was just really bad.
Okay. So, yesterday, throughout the day, you mentioned feeling shitty. Were you under the influence of anything yesterday?
No, except for the come down. No, I don't even know how long that stays in your system for, no, I didn't take anything or nothing. No.
It was just otherwise a normal work day for you.
Yes.
Felt bad because of the come down from taking shrooms the previous.
Yeah, well, the thing is, I used to be pretty suicidal until I saw this video of this shitlib professor in some college or university, and he was like, so I hear a lot of young white men are committing suicide, and I gotta be careful with what I say here, but I'm like, yeah, great, and I'm watching that and I'm like, wait a minute, what the hell? So they want us to do this? They don't see it and say, oh, that's sad. They actually want this to happen? Why would I play into their hands? So that was a big thing for me that kicked that thought to the curb, kicked that thought right to the curb, because I'm like, hold up a second, they actually want us to do this. And,
Nate, how are you feeling right now? And I know that's may sound like a stupid question, but physically, are you okay?
oh, I'm physically fine. It's mentally probably going to have to digest quite a bit,
Yeah.
but
When we first started talking, you said that people might. You wanted to tell the truth. You didn't want to hide behind or an insanity thing.
no, because that would ruin the message. That would take away the message of what I'm trying to say.
So, in your mind, are you someone that can easily tell right from wrong?
Well, I mean, obviously, when I became more aware of, when I became aware of these grooming gangs in the UK and this gang rape of young girls and stuff, that broke me to no longer take my previously held values, because the way I saw it is you can't, like, this is war, is what I would say. Like, that's an act of war against white people to do something like that. So it's not something that I could any longer just say, well, at least they're all not all. Like, it's because if these people really cared about what these people were doing, they would be publicly protesting these people. They would be saying, these people don't represent us. But that's not what happens. These people, these terrorists and these rapists, often escape, because what they'll do is this isn't in Canada as far as I'm aware, but in these countries where this happens, is they'll go to some Muslim community and no one will report them, because these people, and even there's been studies done showing that the vast majority of Muslims, even the non-violent ones, support ISIS, or they don't give a shit. And these are the people that vote for the parties that choose to allow these things to happen. So they're complicit. But I don't know. Like, reason number one was to send a warning. That was reason number one. Obviously,
I guess I want to get a sense from you, because to be honest with you, people might look at this act, this, and think, okay, that person maybe was suffering from some type of mental health issue, or they weren't in their right state of mind. And I'm trying to get a baseline for what your state of mind was. Were you able to tell right from wrong at that time?
well, at that time, my cynicalism was broken through. It's just too much. It's too much to just turn my back on. It's just, I mean, they say two wrongs don't make a right, but a message had to be sent, is the way I look at it. A message had to be sent. Someone had to do something. I can't just watch this happen anymore.
When you left your apartment at 7:30, if that's what time it was, and you said you struggled with it, you went back and forth, but it was your intention at that time to
kill Muslims, yes.
a group of Muslims, and kill them.
Yes.
There's no question about that in your mind when you left your apartment.
No, I wasn't gonna do an injury or something like that. I was planning on killing.
Did you have a greater plan?
No, well, I thought I thought at first, no. I mean, because I'm trying to think because once it happened, I was just I mean, obviously I know that, often cops cops are, at least they say cops are likely to be trigger happy or whatever, but I don't really think that's true, but, no, I just wanted to get it done. I just wanted to do it. Even like even when I got arrested, there were other Muslims walking on the street. I wasn't gonna keep going. I was done. I was done after that was enough. I think that's a pretty strong message that I sent, because that was a pretty brutal thing to do. So, I didn't really have the desire to continue after I did that.
Okay. So you had equipment with you, a machete, you mentioned, some knives, an airsoft gun.
Yeah, but it was in there, but it's just.
Were you? What was your intention for those things?
Well, because at first I thought that if cops try to stop me or something, but after I just felt just pointless bringing them.
Okay.
I guess I thought but the armor was more for if a cop shot at me, just to give me more of a chance of not dying, I guess. But it was pretty much pointless.
You know what? We've been talking a while here. Do you want me to want something to eat?
No, it's okay.
Are you okay to continue talking to me?
Yeah, some questions I might just say I pass. But you can keep asking me questions.
That's completely your right.
Yeah, but you can.
You said you were feeling shitty yesterday. Are you overtired? Are you?
No, I'm fine. It's all. I mean, I guess because I was saying that I was depressed or whatever. I guess that could be used as something as saying he wasn't in his right mind. Once again, it's this situation where they're making it so that. They're taking away options so that people have no choice but violence. When they take away your right, the ability for you to peacefully protest. And you can say, oh, well, we do free speech, but we don't, because as I said to you before, your life will be ruined if you do make your beliefs publicly known, and you'll be ostracized from your society, and the government will not defend your beliefs. I've seen it happen so many times, and I've decided I'm not going to be one of those people. The government makes it so that makes a situation where there is no other possible outcome but violence.
Is it your belief that your stance that your beliefs are not racist?
Racist. Well, the thing is, the definition of racism has changed, right? Because originally, I guess back in the civil rights movement, right, the definition was basically hating people for the color of their skin, right? But that's not what racism is classified as now. It's just any consciousness of white people at all. It's any racial consciousness of white people at all. They're not allowed to have any. But all minorities can. So rather than saying, no, I'm not racist, they're the real racists, I would say, yes, I am a racist, and also all minorities are racist. Because again, the definition has changed. And I'm not going to, beat around the bush to try to not get called a mean word, right? Because regardless, because I don't make definitions of words, right? So I understand, okay, the modern definition of racism means any consciousness, any racial consciousness of white people whatsoever. I mean, hell, they've even made articles saying, is your baby racist, right? Where if a white baby, prefers to be around white people, then right? It's just, but they use these hoaxes, right, and these different words, and they have them, and they manipulate the public, and the public, just your average person, they have these words associated with the metaphysically evil. So, to the point where the public hates people who are called racists more than they would hate when they would hate some rapist, right? Okay. Or some, yeah. I'm sorry, I probably didn't really answer your question clearly there, but.
Well, I think I understand that
But yeah, I'm saying.
What you're saying, I think so. I think I
Right.
understand.
Well, yeah. So by definition, yes, it is racist. Yes.
And you're saying that racism definitions changed over time.
Right. But in my defense, I don't be one of those people who say, "Oh no, liberals are the real racists." No, I say, no. Every race is racist. Every race has a collective interest, and that's fine, and that's natural. It's normal to have collective interests, and if you feel angry because you see other white people getting young girls getting gang raped by these disgusting Muslims, that's not evil. You're not evil for thinking that. That's natural. And it's only in this modern society where people are so brainwashed to think that that's wrong. For thousands of years, European countries offended themselves.
Okay. You've talked a lot about Muslim grooming gangs.
Yeah, because that was the number one thing that
Right.
radicalized me for sure.
And their abuse of young white girls.
Yes.
Now, what would your reaction be then to a Muslim grooming gang and their abuse of a young Muslim girl or a young girl of a different race?
Well, I'm still against it, obviously. But even if they were doing it to, and I'm sure they do to some extent, but it's not at all the same to the same extent they do it to us. But even if they were to be abusing a member of their own race, if that's your culture or whatever, you cannot bring that here. Keep that in your own country. You can't. And that's why this multicultural society that we live in can't work. And everybody, and the smart people know that. They know that this is going to end in a disaster, and it already is ending in disaster. Because different cultures have different interests. And when you have these political parties that are coming out and saying, if you are a minority or if you are a non-white, we are going to give you free stuff. Well, yes, then obviously these minorities, Muslims, yes, they will be voting. Obviously, they are going to vote for these parties that are going to give them free stuff. I don't care if that's legal. I don't care if that's legal. That's still theft. They're stealing money from white people and they're giving it to foreigners. Same when they say, oh, we're going to let mass immigration come in. I don't care if it's legal. That's an invasion. You can't just open up the floodgates because you know these people are going to vote for you. I think I went on another tangent. Sorry, I keep on going on tangents. But
Okay. Well, let me bring you back then, Nate. You mentioned that you ran over some people.
Yeah.
Who are the people that you ran over?
I don't know.
Okay. Why did you run over those people?
They were Muslims, right? Were they not? I mean...
I don't know who they are.
Well, I guess I really... Well, didn't I already explain to you, I thought?
No, you explained to me that you ran over some people.
But I explained to you the motivation, right?
And why you did it? Yes.
Yes, because I'm trying to send a message.
Right. But you saw a group of people and you ran over them. Why that group of people?
Because they were Muslim.
Okay. How did you know they were Muslim?
Well, from the clothes.
Clothes?
Yeah.
Anything else?
It was the clothes.
Okay. Can you describe them for me?
I can't remember, man. I'm sorry. It was just happened in such a flash.
Do you know how many people were there?
No.
Do you remember if there was any, approximate ages of the people that were there?
I knew they were children. That's the thing. I knew it had to be brutal. It had to be a very strong message. So yeah, I knew what I did. I'm sorry. I know for you this is probably difficult, so I apologize for that. But
This is my job, and I love my job, and it's not always easy, but yeah, this isn't about me. I just want to check in with you about, have you changed your mind? Do you want to speak with a lawyer?
Eventually, but
We've been talking a long time here. I know eventually, but I mean, when you say eventually, you mean eventually tonight, or do you want to down the road? Because again, I want you to be completely aware of your rights. You
Well,
seem pretty set on talking to me about this and telling your side of things.
I kind of have told you pretty much everything at this point.
Yeah. There's a lot of historical things I think that I'd like to ask you about to get a more full picture of
Sure.
who
Just
you
know
are.
that I might not answer everything. But
I'm gonna get a drink. Do you want another drink?
sure. Thank you.
Okay. Anything else?
No, that's fine. Thank you.
Okay. Again, just have to ask, right? I'll get you.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Okay, just give me a minute, right?
Yep, no problem.
You okay, dude?
Yeah, I was just walking.
Okay. Sorry, I just caught a glimpse of you on our monitor. It looked like you were bending over like you might be ill.
Oh no, I'm just walking. Sorry. I
Okay.
don't need to.
All right, I'll be right back.
Yep. No, don't apologize. Thank you.
I don't know if I even got an answer from you about the lawyer thing. Did you
Oh,
want to speak
oh.
with the lawyer again?
I'll talk to them later. I mean, I might not answer all your questions, but, because you said that I don't have to,
You
but,
definitely don't have to.
but you're welcome to ask
Okay.
what you want to ask.
I wanted to ask, there's a couple things that stuck out in my mind. When you were talking about this. So you had the items that were in your car, knives, machete. I'm assuming that the helmet and the bulletproof vest were in your car as well. When did you put those items in your car?
I had them for a while, but I'm going to pass on that. Sorry.
Okay.
If
That's completely within your rights. Absolutely. You mentioned when you went home from work initially, you were pacing back and forth, and you looked up what the guy in the UK did.
Yeah, I needed some. Some motivation, I guess.
Okay. But you don't recall his name.
I know I can't remember that guy's name. I know I know Brent Tarrant. I know that guy.
What's Brent Tarrant?
He's a New Zealand shooter.
Okay. Can you describe? Can you remind me? I know that there was a massive incident in New Zealand.
Yes.
It revolved around Muslim people. I'm assuming that's who you're talking about.
Yeah, he was my main inspiration.
What were his acts?
First, he shot up 2 mosques. One of them had a prior history of extremism, which the cops purposely didn't investigate. So that one mosque certainly a little bit would have been a bit sympathetic to the public, I guess, because the mosque was caught. One of the mosques that he shot up were caught. They were caught basically training extremists. There was some extremism connection. I can't remember exactly what it was, but yeah, that was one.
You'd also mentioned some other sources of inspiration for you.
Well, yeah, it's just.
And you mentioned some names, and I honestly, I tend to purposely ignore the news at times, so maybe I'm not as aware as your average person. But what were the names? I didn't recognize any of them.
I'm going to pass on that for right now.
Yeah, okay, no problem. Were these? I mean, it is kind of the same thing, but those sources of inspiration and motivation for you, were they all based on people who were taking action against Muslim people, or was it various other peoples?
Various.
Okay. The snapping moment, or the moment of realization when you were reading or learning about the Muslim grooming gangs.
So yeah.
When did you come to that, or when did that happen? When was
March.
that really? March?
Yeah, I started planning an attack in March.
Right.
But I started actually planning it in March.
Okay. What kind of things did you do to plan it?
I'm sorry, I'm going to pass on that too.
Okay. You mentioned earlier I think you called it I can't remember the term. People who are heat scores or something like that for the feds.
Mm-hmm.
Were you referring to people who talk about what their plans are online or something like that?
Well, you don't even have to do that. You can just say offensive things and you'll be put on a watch list. it's very easy to get nailed. That's why it's a lot more people get arrested than actually follow through with what they do, because most people aren't aware of how many feds are on the internet.
So would you say that you've taken precautions in your planning?
Oh yeah, I was very careful not to get on federal radar.
Okay. How do you do that? How do you just not talk about it?
Pretty much. It's not an easy thing to do. It's part of what makes you snap, because you're so sick. Well, it's not even like fed. It's just like being worried about, being doxxed.
What does that mean?
Doxxed is when you're publicly exposed and then your life gets ruined, because what will happen is these corporatist funded Antifa groups will harass everyone around you. They'll harass your family. They'll harass your employer. They'll harass your school. They'll even harass your landlord until you're basically homeless on the street. Is what they do. And the government will purposely allow it to happen. So they'll say you have freedom of speech, but then it'll be like, oh, but private companies can ruin your life. So that is what just caused me to decide to do violence, because I'm not going to live I'm not going to live my life unable to even speak. Unable to even say, even act like, even like I was telling you about earlier, like what happened in Finland, where these guys were protesting against like grooming gangs, like against the Islamization of Europe. And they were arrested for inciting hate violence, even though they were just holding signs. That's the thing. The government makes it so there is no outlet. There is nothing you can legally do, because you'll just have your life destroyed anyway.
And that's called being doxxed when you're
you're
exposed.
Yes, when you're publicly exposed. Which again, I'm not even against the concept of doxing, because I believe that people have the right to the freedom of information. But if the government still treats you with equal justice under the law, it's similar. And I'm saying there is not equal justice under the law in any Western country. Nationalists are harassed, or the government will purposely allow them to be harassed and not protect them. So that's why I am coming out and saying they are the ones that are responsible for the violence. It's not the partisans that do something about it. It's it's their fault it happened. They should be the one that's sued. They're the ones that should have to pay the price, because they're the ones that make it so there's nothing you can do. They're the ones that make it so you don't even. They're the ones that purposefully allow you to be silenced.
You mentioned it was about that time in 2016 that you went down the rabbit hole, so to speak.
I was 18, but that was only when I was just when I first learned that the media was pretty dishonest, and then
I thought that was the trouble actually.
Well, I was doing some research and I was thinking, like, wait a minute, why are they so dishonest? Like, something's not right here. And then that was.
So where did you talk about these things like doxing or the dishonest media?
Yes.
Like as if you have evidence to prove those things. You know what I mean? So where do you, in order to learn that the media is dishonest, where do you go to find that out?
Well,
because the media is your source of information in most cases. No?
Well, an easy one is FBI statistics, but it's even just seeing. It's just when you watch the way the media will point out the race of somebody over and over and over again if they're white. They won't even. Oftentimes, they don't even show pictures because they're afraid of people getting mad. So they just don't show pictures. There's lots of examples.
Like show pictures of accused people?
Yes, they won't show the picture of the accused.
Because they're not white?
Yes, or
You're
yeah.
suggesting they wouldn't show an accused Muslim
Yes,
person?
I 100% believe that they're purposely covering for them.
Okay.
And it's obvious. It's hard to believe. Like it's hard. It seems like such a big conspiracy, but that's what it looks like. That's almost every single corporation and media company seems to do the same thing. It can't be a coincidence.
You live downtown,
Yes.
and you ended up pretty much on the edge of town, as far away from downtown as you can pretty much get, and still be in the city where this happened.
No, I don't remember how long I drove for.
What made you go back to Hyde Park?
I'll pass on that for now. Again, if you want to ask me questions later, maybe I'll come back to you once I've talked to a lawyer.
Okay. It seems to me that you are very interested in talking about the reason for all of this and the message that and
That's the whole point of what I did, was
Yeah.
to send a message.
except there's some things that you're holding back on. I mean, we've already talked. You said to me that you ran over people. You ran over them because they were Muslim. You thought they were Muslim because of the way they were dressed, and that it was surprisingly easy to do. I mean, that is pretty straightforward. Yet there's something that you're holding back from me.
It's just not fun. I didn't enjoy what I did. So it's just
Understandable.
didn't enjoy it. So I probably need some time to come to grips with myself.
Okay. But there's a couple of things that I've asked you or asked about, and you've passed, which is totally fine. You don't have to talk to me at all. I appreciate you talking to me, and I want to get to the absolute. I want to know absolutely everything I can. I want to make sure that on our end of this, we get it right. Our investigation is as accurate as possible. So when you kind of hold back a little bit, it concerns me that there's something else out there that is important for us to know.
Well, I'll talk to you more when I talk to the lawyer. It's just
Okay. Do you want to talk to a lawyer right now?
well, maybe not now, but eventually I will.
Okay. I'll talk to you at any time, at any you say the word, and I'll be there to talk to you about it, because it's important. It's important that we know as much as we possibly can. It's important that we get it right. Was there? Who else knew about your plan?
Nobody did.
There's nobody else involved?
So it's a lone wolf attack. Like I said, I was very careful. I've seen so many stories of people getting caught in their plans, so I was.
What about your online presence?
I was pretty careful there too.
There's things, there's groups or people that you would talk to about this. Other like-minded people.
I would never made an account. I know that the feds are able to identify people. I know that they have all the technology, so I never made an account. I was very careful not to. Maybe I mean it's possible that I wasn't a watch list and I just like when I ordered the body armor, I had to give my personal information. So I'm assuming I probably already was on one. But
when you ordered it,
yeah, it was all legal. But even though I didn't actually end up using it at all. But I was very careful until I decided I couldn't take it anymore.
you mentioned doing online school. Where do you go to school?
I dropped out. I went to Fanshawe.
And that's right, you dropped out.
I'm saying it now, but I was starting to wonder, like, what am I doing? Like, what is the world coming to? Like I was just shocked at what the world was coming to, and I was like, well, if they're going to force me to take it to go, then what's the point of even wasting my time being here? I don't know, like, the world is just changing so fast, and it's I mean, this obviously, I'm sure that it's going to shock the hell out of people, but people are like waking up, like people are starting to notice that there's like this this anti-white agenda going on in the Western world, in the entire Western world. Like, it's so out in the open at this point that there's not. People are starting to wake up. I know that there's like, which is why stuff like this happening is inevitable, because they keep pushing and they keep pushing and they keep pushing and they keep escalating the rhetoric, and they keep bringing up more affirmative action, and they keep on taking away more rights and taking away more rights and increasing more mass immigration and printing more fake news. It keeps escalating. That white people in the West are starting to develop a racial consciousness in these days. They're starting to. A lot of them, much of it is young people, because the older generations are still sort of from their time, but. People are starting to no longer just be an individualist, and they're starting to notice, like, why is the same thing happening all over the world? Why do the same agendas get pushed all over the world? Why is every single white majority country have a just horribly collapsing birth rate? Why is every single white country bringing in mass immigration and replacing the native populations? Like, people are starting to wake up, so to speak.
Nate, what were you studying?
Architecture.
Who do you have in your life?
Well, there's some people, but I didn't really have anything to lose. There was nothing. Obviously, I know that some people are going to have their lives become a living hell because of what I did, but it is collateral damage. But no, if
Talking about family?
Just like, there's some people that, not just that, but there's some people that that I have had connections with, meaningful connections with, and their lives will become. I know, but I'm in the situation. I was in the position where I had nothing to lose, so I decided to take advantage of that. There's a lot of people who are really upset about what's going on. They have a family to take care of, or a girlfriend, or kids. But in my situation, I didn't have anything to lose.
Nate, did you do this to be a beacon of inspiration for like-minded people? Is that why you did it?
Well, that's a side bonus. But that doesn't justify what I did. My reason for doing it was to send a warning. But yes, in the sense that I am trying to encourage, for example, people in the UK who see this happening, I'm trying to encourage them. You can do something. You don't have to just sit there and let it happen.
And you believe this message will reach those people?
Well, it will, but it's like I said, I would not have done what I did if it wasn't for others. So I know that it does change the atmosphere with every action.
So one of the things that we do in almost any investigation, if the circumstances dictate, is that we obtain search warrants, search people's residences, and
yeah, I know that's. Well, I'm surprised I haven't done it already.
Well, we still have to wait for the authorization. We have to prepare a search warrant. It has to get approved. Is there anybody else in your apartment?
No.
Okay. Your apartment is at where we've discussed downtown. Did you ever have any other locations that you stayed at?
No, in London.
No.
No.
You had places outside of London?
Yeah, I do need to search those too. There's nothing. There won't be anything there, but do you need to search them too?
Potentially.
Okay. I don't want to, like. Okay. I'm serious. I'm not actually hiding anything, but I'll talk to my lawyer first. But
Okay.
I'm not hiding anything.
Oh, yeah, okay, that's fine. Before you went out, you kind of made the decision that this was going to happen today, or that's what we discussed.
Yeah, I was sick of waiting.
Prior to leaving your apartment, did you let anyone know that this was happening?
No, I really wanted to get advice, just like from somebody who could tell me, but you can't because, for obvious reasons they're obviously going to report you, so there wasn't anyone that I could really talk to, so.
Right. It seems to be a sticking point for you to talk about knowing where you're going when you put these things in your car. I'm not sure why.
No, I just don't enjoy talking about what I did because I just don't enjoy it because it was very, 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 very distasteful. So it's just
Okay.
But eventually, I'm sure.
that is part. You're talking about the motivation, the reasons why you did it.
Yes, but it's difficult. But even with all my motivation, it is difficult to speak of what I did.
Okay. When did you first, the people that you ran over, when did you first see them?
All passed till I talked to my lawyer.
Okay. 1 second. I just gotta turn this up for a second.
Okay.
It's 3:35. Are you doing okay? Tired?
I don't know. I think I'm fine. I don't know. A lot of your questions I'm probably not going to answer, but I don't know what else. But
Yeah, I mean,
you're free to ask what you want.
I appreciate that.
I might talk to you later. I want to talk to my lawyer, but
Okay.
or not my lawyer, a lawyer. I don't have one, so but
Yeah, I hope I've hammered home this message to you enough about your lawyer, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I certainly wanted you to have the opportunity to talk to him before you said anything to me.
I don't know. For some reason, I just feel bad when I say no to a question, which is stupid, obviously, because it's just your job. But excuse me.
Well, here's my thing, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to ask you a couple things, and then I'm going to get you out of here, maybe let you get some sleep, maybe come back and see you in the morning, bring you something to eat, or I don't know, coffee or something like that, and just check in with you at that time. But one of the things that's sticking out to me in this. You said you started this happened in March, where things kind of crystallized for you, maybe in terms of just it's enough's enough for you.
I think with this whole what I saw happening in the world was really that was when I really thought maybe I should if I do want to do something, maybe it's better to do it now as opposed to waiting.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So March, April, however many months that's been, 3 months?
Yeah, 3-4 months, yeah.
Sounds like a lot of time, potential for a lot of planning to go on.
Oh, it went by faster than ever. I thought, I got lots of time, don't worry about it. And honestly, I didn't think I was going to do it. I really didn't. I just didn't see myself doing it. But I just thought, you thought I'm going to be a revolutionary. I didn't think I was actually going to do it.
Is that how you see yourself?
What do you mean?
As a revolutionary?
Well, we are trying to, the end goal is to overthrow Western governments. So, but what I did is not so much revolutionary in that sense, because I wasn't attacking the government per se. But the end goal, yes, is to create a new society, to make white people able to have control over their lands, and that doesn't mean you hate other peoples. It's just you're allowed to serve the interests of your people and not have everything controlled by corporations and globalists, and not have your politicians bought off by big donors that want to lobby for mass immigration, for cheap labor and stuff like that. I'm going on a tangent again, but
no, that's all right.
I'm
I'm very interested to find out everything about this. What motivated you? What plans you made?
Yes. Now, I chose to go as brutal as I did because I thought I needed to send as strong as a message as I can. As strong as a message as I can.
Okay. All right. So March, you said the time went by quickly.
It was faster than ever. I can't believe how fast. I honestly didn't think I was going to do it. I honestly am still shocked that I actually did that.
All right, Nate. So I really don't want to assume anything, but the items that you ordered, you said that you ordered and that you had with you, specifically the vest. I'm not sure about the helmet. Is that when you ordered those things in March?
I can't remember, but I'm not going to. No, it was. No, I'll tell you. I think it was like a month in advance. I think.
Prior to March?
No, sorry. It was a couple months after March.
Oh, okay. All right.
But it was more just like in the case that a cop shot me. In the case, but even at the time, I thought but it was kind of. It was kind of pointless.
Okay. I know you mentioned that you didn't want to talk, or you wanted to pass for now, but you had weapons in your car.
Yes.
you had that vest and that helmet with you and wearing those things at the time you were arrested. Okay. All right. I just don't want to put words in your mouth. So if that's inaccurate, I would please tell me that. But so here's my thing. You've talked about your main source of inspiration being the gentleman in New Zealand.
Yes, he was.
I can't remember his name. I apologize.
Brenton Tarrant.
Brenton Tarrant?
Tarrant.
Tarrant.
Yeah, Tarrant.
Okay. Who attacked 2 different mosques?
Yes. There's also a guy in Canada up in Quebec that did something similar.
Right.
He attacked one mosque. I don't remember his name.
So here's my thing. You had, I guess, started making plans 3 months or in March.
Yeah.
Several months ago, and procured some items. And we have a mosque here in London.
Mm-hmm.
And you were near a mosque
I didn't actually know it was near a mosque.
when you were arrested.
And I'm serious, I actually didn't know that.
Okay.
Actually, yeah, because when they were taking me to the station, we passed one. I was surprised because I didn't know it was that close to me.
And you mentioned, again, don't want to put words in your mouth, but when you were telling me about your drive home from work, you saw some Muslim people, and I believe from where you were telling me you were at the time, you had gone, it would have been near the mosque that you saw those people. So that puts in my head just the possibility that your plans included a mosque.
I understand that you think, but I'm serious, it actually wasn't, but I understand why you would think that.
Okay. So that wasn't part of your plan?
No, I honestly didn't even know I passed one. That's surprising.
But in planning this for the last couple months, the mosque was not part of your plans?
Well, I'm not going to say confirm or deny, but I can say that I took time to think of what I wanted my target to be. Because there's the point where you think, well, I want this to be something as most sympathetic to the public as possible, which was originally what I was thinking. But then I decided, no, let's send as brutal as a message as I can.
So you found...
Because from what I can see, it doesn't seem that the government or these violent terrorists and rapists seem to respond to anything other than violence, is what it appears to be. I wasn't a revolutionary in the sense that I wasn't attacking the government directly. I wasn't attacking a government building. Actually, but even Timothy McVeigh from the 1995 Oklahoma City bombing, he was a bit of inspiration for me too. Not so much that, not like it was a long time ago, so it's a different thing. But I think he's right when he says the government is committing atrocities in other countries. The federal government is slaughtering its own citizens with these gun grabs. I am simply waging war against the government. And I understand what he's saying. He's saying, you can't say, oh, you're this evil terrorist when it's the government does this stuff every day. You're just fighting. So, I don't know why I keep going on tangents, but yeah, he was a bit of an inspiration as well, although it's a long time ago.
Okay, so you just mentioned, prior to talking about Timothy McVeigh, that you knew exactly what you wanted to do, or
it took me a while I knew I wanted to do something. I knew that Muslims were probably going to be my target.
Okay. But then you chose to go, and you used the words brutal earlier.
Yes.
So, and I think this was talked about, but you knew there were children there.
Yes.
And that was intentional, because you knew how it needed to be brutal in order for you to get the message out.
I was aiming for the parents, but I knew that there was going to be some collateral damage. And I didn't care, because I think it had to be brutal.
Okay. you were aiming for the parents.
Yep.
Is there anything else you think I should know?
Well, at the moment, I can't really think of anything.
Okay. I think I'm going to let you get some rest.
Okay, thanks for the. Thank you.
And just real quick, I've been doing this job for quite a few years now, and got to interview quite a few people. And one of the things I've found is that when people decide that they're going to talk to police for whatever reason, they're talking to police because they've potentially committed a crime or they're a witness to something.
Yeah.
Regardless of what they're talking to the police for, most people have made a decision prior to talking to the police that they're just not going to tell them. There's something they're not going to tell them because for whatever reason, embarrassment or fear of being found out, whatever it is. But most people have something that they hold back. What is it that you're holding back from me?
No, I'm just saying it's taken me a while to to come to terms with what I did because it was very distasteful and I did not enjoy it. So right now, I just don't feel like talking about it too much. I talked to you about it a little bit.
Yeah, you did. You mentioned
maybe later.
Yeah, you mentioned that it was easier than you thought it would be, or it wasn't that difficult. But then after it happened.
Yeah, after it happened, I was like, oh my god, what the fuck? Yeah. It didn't even seem real. It didn't even seem real.
Okay. All right, why don't you and I get out of here for a little while. I'm going to come back and check with you in the morning, all right? Is there anything I can bring you? Anything else you want to tell me?
No, not right now.
Okay. All right, and if you want to talk to a lawyer, you can at any point. Even if like after I leave here, I go back upstairs.
It's fine. I'll wait till tomorrow. It's fine.
Just talk to, ask one of the cadets or whoever. All right, they'll put you in touch with whoever right away. Okay. All right, let's get you out of here.